All right.
Sorry about the
I'm just
echo.
gonna send a link to the doc and then I'll start reading.
Yeah.
And before we begin, can we have all debaters introduce themselves, where they're from and what side
Yeah.
speaking?
Yeah.
I'll be awesome.
I'm gonna be the first one speaking. So I'm Samuel Weiss. I'm from JR Masterman WE, and I'm speaking first on the affirmative.
And that would make me Owen Erdman from JR Masterman WE speaking second on the affirmative.
Oh, Luke, you want me to first speak?
Yeah, you're first speaking.
Okay. I'm Andrew Lee, first speaking on the neg, and we're going neg second.
I'm Luke Zong. I speak second. We're gonna be second on the neg.
Oh, and did you send doc?
I'm pasting it in right now. Let me know when everyone gets it.
Owen, that was a direct message to me. Send it to the whole chat.
Oh, no. Okay. There we go.
All right. We good? Is anyone not ready? 3, 2, 1. Masterman affirms contention one is backsliding. The share of surveillance on the border isn't equal. Finnegan 23. The U.S. has been outsourcing migration policies to Mexico. Mexico has taken on unprecedented responsibility for U.S. migration policies. Mexico has used the issue to gain unprecedented leverage over politicians as means of leverage, with both AMLO has with concessions in other areas, regardless of who wins the U.S. election. Specifically, Mexico is using their leverage as blackmail as they turn to authoritarianism. Burnout 24. U.S. officials are looking the other way as President Obrador dismantles the country's democratic institutions empirically. Let me 23, as Mexico passed a bill to curb the power of the agency that oversees the elections, the country took another step backwards toward its authoritarian past. The U.S. has taken away Mexico's leverage. 424, to secure the border, the U.S. does not have to depend on any other entity. It only needs leadership with the will to enforce immigration laws already in place. The impact is authoritarianism, free from Mexico's thumb. Martinez 24, the Biden administration should publicly promote the defense of human rights in Mexico, raise its voice in clear defense of press freedom, and promoting transparency and accountability. Mexico backsliding spills over. Apple, the consequences of backsliding spill over into the international realm in the form of threats, aggressions, or violence. Leading backsliders, Mexico, extinction, Belfield 23, world dominated by totalitarian states, more war-prone, less cooperative, worse at responding to risk of extinction, more likely to have major wars. War makes collapse and extinction more likely by raising the chance of weapons of mass destruction being used. Nuclear causes extinction, SAR 15. A nuclear war would create an environment too cold and dark to grow food, humans would vanish forever. Contention 2 is politics. Even though Kamala is ahead in the polls, Trump is still on track to win. Brooks from 3 days ago. Trump was never going to ride a majority wave to victory in 2024. He sabotages his own campaigns, but so does surprisingly well in elections. Harris was not in as good shape as Clinton was in 2016. Clinton led by 5 percentage points at that stage and ended up losing. Polls perennially underestimate Trump's support. Trump had several fundamental issues that drove support to him. Trump victorious in 2024. Trump will increase surveillance of elected. Gallup 23. Trump promised the largest deportation operation in history. He will invoke the Alien and Sedition Acts to improve the approved election to Kamala's favor. Arthur 24. In swing states that are likely to decide the 2024 presidential election, immigration and the border are deciding issues that could determine the presidential election. The president has to secure the border. It's the best way to ensure victory. Party 24. Immigration is the number one issue for voters. Re-electing Trump ensures extinction. Harman 23. Support for democracy will end. Putin will destroy Ukraine. Seeing America will no longer defend democracy. China will take Taiwan and North Korea attack South Korea. Triggers a nuclear World War III. The EPA will be gutted. Efforts to mitigate the climate will be rolled back. Fossil fuel extraction will explode. If Trump is elected, civilization ending weather and the death of much of humanity is assured. Cross-up star. Contention 3 is cartels. Catchy 23. Cartels traffic 1 million weapons every year. 85% traffic traced to the United States. A major breakthrough in trafficking. Arms trafficking can take down entire cartel networks. Laras is 10. Limitations in surveillance at the border hinder U.S. efforts to detect southbound arms at the border. Agencies lack systematic gathering data and information. Criminal 23. Increased deployment of technology and the intelligence is helping investigators. Absent App Eberhard 24. Firearms are a symbol of cartel profit, power, and prestige. Cartels use these weapons to engage in battle with their enemies and exert control over their claimed territories. Cartels cause instability. Martin 20. Cartels create regional instability that foreign competitors can leverage to gain access that mutate into war. Corral 23. 3 years from now, Mexican cartels are more powerful than the Mexican state itself. Revenue per year has gone up 14-fold in just the last couple of years. Instability goes nuclear. Lindsay 13. Latin America instability provide opportunities for rivals to threaten stability, security, heightened level of competition among the great powers would lead to a confrontation with a nuclear power. Extinction cross Septober.
Okay, I'm sending a doc right now. Okay. Does that work for everyone? Okay, yeah. I see people on the doc, so I'm gonna assume that's a yes. Everyone good? All right. We negate contention one's agriculture. Global supply chains are up but fragile. KPMG 24. 2023 increased supply chain stability. Several variables still drive fragility. Low inspection rates keep the gears turning. Garcia 23. Maritime shipping constitutes 80% of global trade. A fraction of cargo undergoes scrutiny. The CBP examined only 2% of maritime containers at ports. Border obstacles would destroy trade. Carter and Post 19. Trade flows are significantly lower after barriers are built. Construction has real consequences, heightening the border effect. High building, human environment, and economic costs translate into an overall disruption. Trade delays are supply chain issues causing high prices. Bank 24. Supply chain issues were major contributors to the early 2020s inflation spiral that manufacturing delays and shipping bottlenecks combined to result in product shortages. Labor shortages persist now. Pan and Sanchez 24. Labor shortages in agriculture are likely to persist. This is why the sector relies heavily on undocumented workers. Killed 12. Heightened enforcements reduce undocumented workers, which devastates farm production. Indeed, DHS 20 confirms illegal entries in areas with new border wall systems plummeted over 87%. And empirically, Devados 11 finds 80% of the newly hired farm labor force is from Mexico, of which 96% are unauthorized as border enforcement intensified. 20% of agriculture products not harvested. Independently, Coin 21 finds surveillance deters migration by making it more costly for prospective migrants. And Puma and Medicol 17 of Columbia University terminalizes. The U.S. is a superpower to global food production. A minor disruption in U.S. supply could cascade rapidly and cause a shock. The impact is extinction. Crib 10. Billions will experience hardship. The imminent threat to the human race is starvation. Food shortages, famine are the greatest threat the human race has ever faced. Contention 2 is politics. Harris is going to win. Agiesta 24. The race is close. 48% support Harris and 47% Trump. Harris is well ahead among likely voters younger than 30 and Latino likely voters. Harris has begun to build a more positive image, outpacing across several measures. Harris's running mate has more positive favorability rating. Trump is seen as too extreme. Non-poll indicators, funding, and delegates prove. Schwartz 24. Harris won majority of delegates and pulled in $250 million in donations, the historic fundraisings energizing Democrats. She's riding on two key demographics, Royper 24. Harris can capture two niche coalitions, conservative never-Trumpers and young leftists. And regarding the border, Noriega 24, Trump overreaching by promising mass deportation leaves an opening, taking a step on behalf of people without legal status is very powerful among Latinx voters. Affirming would alienate the voters, Noriega 24. Any erosion of Latinx support in a battleground state could be consequential. It would deck her dual appeal via alienation. Bacon 24. Americans agree with some conservative rhetoric, but on immigration, left-leaning parties adopting more nativist rhetoric and policies have not helped those parties do better electorally, and it'll supercharge Trump's attacks. Miller 21. CBP contracts have the formula of a perpetual border crisis. The bigger the crisis, the more need for infrastructure, generating more revenue, more surveillance technology. Indeed, Contorno 24, Trump plans to argue that Harris is responsible for the border and are prepared with messaging that can bring over key swing states. Overall, Piper 24, the 650,000 Democrats uncommitted provide a blueprint for comeback. The risks are enormous if even a small segment stays home or chooses a third party. Otherwise, Trump is existential. Hartman 23, In a second Trump presidency, support for democracy will end, seeing America will no longer defend democracies. China will take Taiwan and North Korea, attack South Korea. It could trigger nuclear World War III. If Trump is elected, civilization ending weather and the death of humanity is assured. Thus, we negate.
Cross. All right, let me start my timer.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about agriculture and like the trade thing. Aren't like trade times bad now?
No, the uniqueness says that they
Can you hear
are
me?
good enough to keep up supply chains. Can I take a question?
Yeah.
I hold on. I just answered the question now.
No, I said yeah. I said yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I can. Yeah, you were cutting out for a bit. Okay.
My fault.
Let's go to backsliding. So your impact evidence says extinction from authoritarian states. How many states need to become authoritarian for extinction to happen?
One. Could I take a question?
So why is an extinction happening? Is China not authoritarian? Russia, etc.?
Yeah, China is authoritarian, but our evidence finds that as countries backslide, it leads to more war, and just one extra war can lead to extinction. Right? Like when China fell into authoritarianism in the, in the Red Revolution, was there not war? There was, right?
So what war is China involved in that the US is not?
China's not involved in a war right now.
Okay, sure. You can take a question.
Let's talk about the politics, the non-polling indicators. It's just
Yeah.
that Kamala won the Democratic delegates, right?
She won quite a bit. Yeah, that's pretty substantial.
Wait, but she won the delegates because Biden told them to vote for her, no?
I mean, she also got a lot of donations. Probably indicates that her support base is pretty strong. Can I take a question?
Sure.
Okay, let's go to C1 again. Your internal link is that backsliding spills over. Can you explain to me which countries are likely to like backslide once Mexico becomes authoritarian?
Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador.
And how do those cause extinction?
What?
And how do those countries specifically cause extinction?
Because it forces, just like how in the Cold War, it forced the United States to enter into into Central America to fight against authoritarianism. The same thing is going to happen, but right now, uniquely, other countries are going to get drawn into these Central American conflicts. Can I get a question?
That doesn't make a lot of sense, but yeah.
Wait, yeah, it does. During the Cold War, didn't we fight in Central America?
Okay, with that logic, why are we not fighting China right now to stop them from being authoritarian? Like that doesn't make a lot
I would say that we're fighting them in a soft way, right? But Mexico's right on our border. We don't want an authoritarian country right across the border from Texas.
I
right?
mean, Russia is right across from Alaska's border. We could fight them.
Not that many people live in Alaska, and no people live on the Russian side right next to Alaska. Nobody lives in Siberia, but a whole lot of people live like in Tijuana. That's
sure. Okay.
All right. I guess I'll low-key compile a doc with cards real quick, and then I'll just send it. Okay, actually, compiling a doc might take a second. Do you guys care if I just read the rhetoric, and then I can send any cards you want after?
Oh, I'm okay with that.
All right. It's not
Wait, so like rhetoric before and then cards, like everything after?
or like, do you want all the cards after, or do you just want the ones, like specific ones?
Yeah, all the cards after would be good. But yeah,
Yep.
like this.
Then I'll just compile it now. Then let's
Okay.
chill. Sam, don't prep. All right. I'll send the doc. Most of the stuff on politics is rhetoric, and the stuff that isn't, we read in our case.
I'm running a debate right now. Yeah.
Oh no. All right. Let me know when you guys get it.
That's a lot of responses, man.
I got it.
All right. I see everyone on the doc. So time to start on my first word. On their agriculture argument, first it had when Diesel 24 finds trucks at the El Paso Juarez border are waiting 480 minutes to cross the border. That means that trade is actually really bad in the status quo. Thankfully, surveillance infrastructure can streamline processes. Algaza 22 finds drone tech can achieve reliable border wait times. Combining AI with aerial imagery can facilitate distribution by getting trucks to their destinations more effectively, but also a disad because the labor shortage in Mexico outweighs. Sheridan 24 finds as its workers steam to the U.S., Mexico runs short of farmhands. Nearly 300,000 a year travel to the United States on seasonal agricultural visas, a fourfold increase in a decade. It's been devastating. Jones 17 in Mexico, a nutrition transition has been underway for a decade. 70% of Mexican households are food insecure. The AF solves more arguments saying in Mexico, increases agriculture and solve food insecurity. The Mexican government will be happy. Also, yeah, the truck stuff doesn't matter. Also, you can turn it because the AF doesn't decrease immigration. It speeds up process of admittance and shorten wait times. The NEU 23 finds AI tech plays a pivotal role in bolstering border surveillance efforts. AI-driven border surveillance ensures efficient processing of legit asylum seekers. But also, we can delink it again because stockpiles solve back. Last 18 finds emergency food stocks, release of stocks in emergency, ensure stability and the availability of the price of food. Prices move acceptable in terms of affordability. Safety net stocks are sold at highly subsidized prices. Stocks improve food access, but also delink again because processed food solves it back and other countries do as well. Good 23 finds America's loss has been Brazil's gain. While U.S. shipments of bulk commodities decline, its exports of more valuable processed foods grow. The next crop in South America will have optimal weather. Brazil, Argentina, the chief competitors to U.S. crop, but also you can turn it one more time. That's because of agroterrorism. CPB 24 finds bad actors engaged in agroterrorism target the food supply, international intro of a disease or contamination of food with toxics. CPB works to ID these bad actors and prevent agroterrorism. This definitely outweighs on scope and time frame because agroterror destroys agriculture entirely and permanently, which is why you're voting after to prevent it. Also, one more dishad because of treatment. A, migrant workers are treated badly in U.S. agriculture work right now. B, decreasing migrant labor is good because it spurs innovation in farming tech. C, new farming tech jobs will pay better, giving migrants better work conditions and creating more jobs domestically across multiple industries. The AF also definitely means H2 visas for legal migration will become more affordable and quickly processed, solving for unauthorized migration. But also, literally read their impact. It's definitely really silly. They just say tiny food shortage is the reason that everyone will go extinct with absolutely no warrant at all. We've definitely had food shortage in the past. They have no bright line on why it's going to happen when you affirm. Let's go to their second argument about politics, which is generally pretty bad. They say, okay, first look at their uniqueness evidence. It just says Kamala Harris is winning by 1% right now. But let's hear them talk about our uniqueness evidence. It's way better. It analyzes polling in the past and it talks about the 2016 election. That's really key because in the 2016 election, it says that Hillary Clinton was actually up by 5 percentage points before the election. But guess who won? Trump did. It says that polls perennially underestimate his support, which means even if their uniqueness is correct and Kamala is up 1% in the polls, it doesn't matter because in reality, Trump is still ahead by 4%. Their polling doesn't matter because our evidence does an analysis of it, but also their non-polling cards are genuinely brutal. It just says Kamala won delegates and donations. That has nothing to do with her winning the election. Clinton won hella delegates and got hella donations. Guess what? She still lost. Yes, this example is the best one you're going to find. Also, Trump has literally been arguing against Kamala policy in the status quo. The evidence saying Trump wants to make Kamala responsible for the border crisis in the status quo. He can't do that post-AF because the AF solves the border crisis, and it probably helps Kamala's support from Latinx voters, which is what they talk about. But also, we'll make the argument, which is basically our cross-application of our case, change in policy helps her more than it hurts her. That's because Arthur 24 finds in swing states that are likely to decide the 2024 presidential election, immigration and the border are deciding issues that could determine the presidential election. The president has to secure the border. It's the best way to ensure victory. Party 24 finds immigration the number one issue for voters. That's definitely outweighing their case because we uniquely highlight that swing states are key. We're winning swing states when you affirm. They're just winning a small group of voters that won't have as big of an impact. But also cross-app cartels because if Kamala solves for cartels, people will like her more, and cross-app the terms from trade. If Kamala speeds up trade efficiency, it'll definitely help voters want to vote for her. Yeah. Vote for that.
Did you read everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, they also added 2 cross-ups on the bottom.
Yeah, I see it. All right. Okay, Andrew, I'm gonna call you. This chat is crazy. I think Andrew talks fine, by the way.
Andrew's a great speaker.
All right, Andrew. Hold on, my contact list is like. All right, we'll be taking prep. All right, that was 56 seconds. Order is going to be neg, frontlining our arguments, or responding to what they said on our arguments, then on their case, top down. Everyone good? Perfect. Time starts on my first word. All right. The
Wait, are you
first thing
sending
that they
doc?
say is,
Sending doc? Are you sending
oh,
doc?
oh, you're right.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I'll mark it after.
Wait, Luke, what are you reading on their C1? Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm not a brick.
Yo, okay. It'll be the same doc that I sent earlier in the chat. I can resend the link, but it's just at the bottom. I'm gonna mark a section that's called rebuttal. Okay, it's there.
All right, everyone good? All right. Neg af. Start on C1. The first thing that they say is that surveillance infrastructure can increase streamline, but just does not interact with the construction link. And we still weigh on it, and we still say that construction always has to come first, which shuts down the border and causes an economic collapse first anyway. So it does not matter if streamline can increase in the future if the border, if the entire world is in recession. The next thing that they say is the labor shortage in Mexico outweighs, but there's just no link read into a U.S. Mexico or U.S. agriculture or how that links into extinction. There's no link read, so you can't even evaluate, and there's no weighing off it. Don't let them do new weighing in first round because this probably skews Andrew. The next thing that they say is that the app doesn't, it speeds up process of admittance of like ensuring the wait times of legal immigration, but they have conceded that undocumented immigrants are uniquely key because they constitute an enormous majority of the workers that we need right now. The next thing that they say are just impact events, and they say stockpiles fall back. But obviously, not all countries have stockpiles. Which like they're going to go to resource, which is what our impact is talking about. And the next thing that they say is like processed foods falls back, but obviously not everyone has processed food. The same response applies. And the last thing that they say is agro-terror, but it's just a super silly argument. There's no uniqueness, no link read on how they're going to stop agro-terror in the first place on treatment. Treatment argument does not make any sense. The thing you should notice about all of the terms that there's no link done off of them is there's no link right into extinction. Even if they're being treated badly right now, they're obviously going across the border for a reason. They still think the border is a better option, and obviously being extinct is worse. Go to politics. The first thing that they say is that their uniqueness evidence is really good, but no, it's from September 4th. Ours post dates, it's literally from today, and even then they say Hillary was up 5% before 2016, but our uniqueness evidence also does the analysis says that Kamala is still uniquely better than Hillary because a lot of people say because back then people said they'd be embarrassed if like Hillary won, which is which is what our evidence says like at the top. They say non-polling, but we've already I say why Kamala is better. The last thing that they say is that a change in policy will help her more than it hurts her. But we've isolated specific demographics that she needs to win, like Latino voters or voters that are likely voters under 30. And just because she wins a popular vote doesn't mean she'll win, which is why you should probably like look to the Latino voters link. The last thing that they say are just cross apps. We'll just get that on their case. On their case. On authoritarianism, the first thing that you should notice is that the Bernal evidence directly contradicts their link. It says the U.S. is looking away from Mexico's authoritarianism because they're too focused on immigration, which should function as a turn. If we stop focusing on the border, we can probably have enough time and resources to focus on their democracy. And the backsliding impact evidence is horrible. It never mentions Mexico once, and it says it's the most frequent backslider, which should disprove their link because Mexico has backslided from 2005 to 2018, which is the time frame that they've isolated, and the authoritarianism that they talk about should have happened. And the Guerra evidence also never mentions democracy and only says in general concessions, but has never isolated what concessions. And there's also no warrant on why Mexico specifically goes global when their Bernard evidence also isolates actors like Thailand, which is definitely authoritarianism on elections. The first thing that you should realize is that Biden's asylum policy should have already indicated a shift in point. The fact that it hasn't proved voters won't get Biden credit, the Doherty evidence is true. The next thing that you notice that immigrants prevent inflation by maintaining labor supply, which offset business costs. While 4-7 finds that jobs power the U.S. economy, usually such growth signal inflation will pick up. If employers see demand, they need more workers. If there aren't enough, cut the card there, which also turns it out is a link. The economy could determine the election. And in Michigan, 80% of voters see the economy as a top issue, followed by inflation. And in Pennsylvania, 80% similarly ranked topics. Lower ranked topics include the border. Cut all the responses there, go to cartels. First, other countries will keep the flow of weapons alive. Schrag finds that the combined American arms import market is dominated by the U.S., Germany, and Russia, and China is a substantial provider of small arms. In recent years, Mexico has been a more significant market. Chinese weapons are increasingly finding their way into the hands of Mexican cartels. Second, their evidence specifies surveillance watching deals across the border, but the issue still persists in laws at home. Parson 17, the nation's comparatively weak gun laws are key contributors to the flow of guns across the border. Laws in Mexico are undermined by their proximity to the U.S., and traffickers have developed a variety of methods to exploit the weak gun laws. And evidence stating the U.S. is the main supplier has been flawed for years. Bruce cartels can go underground away from trafficking. Stratford 11 finds that the 90% number is more political rhetoric than empirical fact, and a large portion of guns used by criminals is purchased in Mexico or stolen, and criminals who use straw purchase to obtain firearms from UCAMP. So obviously there are other ways that criminals can still get weapons, which is like not in the U.S. Negate.
Did you read everything?
No, I'll mark it.
Cool.
Andrew, you need to give me access though.
Wait, I can mark it.
Okay.
Actually, no, let me just share this.
Yeah, just share it with me.
Okay, I sent it.
All right, let me just reload. All right, I marked it.
All right. We'll take a little bit of prep starting when I call my partner. I'll share the screen. Okay, that's 2 minutes. Are you good for cross?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. If I get first question.
Sure.
All right. Sorry, let me turn on DND. All right. Start time now. Let's talk about this argument on. Yeah, let's talk about politics. Why are Latino voters more key than voters in swing states?
Because they're the ones that support support Harris right now.
Yeah, but if we isolate that swing states are specifically key to winning the election, and that's what the AF gets is swing state voters, why do Latinx voters matter more?
Because Latinx voters are also in swing states and they
No,
also
but
matter
okay,
because
do you have you don't read any evidence for that? And if you concede that swing state voters are uniquely key, then I just don't get why the neg solves for anything.
wait, I'm pretty sure we read that Latinx voters are key, but I'll take a question.
Yeah, but not as you concede are. Yeah, that's true. You can get a question.
Let's talk about authoritarianism, right? Can
Yeah.
you read me a line in your impact evidence where it says Mexico backsliding is going to lead to what extinction?
Mexico backsliding is going to lead to extinction.
Yeah.
I guess I can go through my evidence, but I can also just give you a reasonable link chain, right? Mexico backsliding, turning into an authoritarian government sets precedent for countries across the globe, right? It has higher predicted growth in the United States right now. Countries are looking to it as a model. Mexico going authoritarian is basically waving the green flag to the rest of the world, saying you guys should do this too. That's what leads
to other countries model after Mexico.
Yeah, that's kind of our argument.
So given that Mexico has been the number one backslider from 2008 to 2015 per your evidence.
But they haven't actually gone. They haven't actually gone authoritarian, right? That's why we're trying to solve with the AF. That's why the impact hasn't triggered, but it will soon. Can I get a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's talk about this argument on cartels. You say that cartels can just shift to other countries immediately, but they're getting 90% of their guns. Okay, political rhetoric is one thing, right? But if they're getting at least most of their guns from the United States right now, wouldn't you say that it would probably be difficult to shift to the entire world in the span of a couple months?
Okay, there's two things here, right? The first thing is that we've read an indictment to the 90% evidence. The second thing is that Mexico is already being seen as a large market and other countries are already moving to fill the gap. So so our argument isn't that they're moving to other countries overnight. It's that they are already moving to there and they already have a likely new supplier.
What's the indictment on the 90%?
It says it's more political rhetoric than fact.
Okay, you can get.
And then there's more analysis under that's unhighlighted that says that it's about 90% of guns that were seized, not 90% of guns that were totally trafficked. So obviously there's still other routes.
That's true. You can get a question.
All right, let's talk more about authoritarianism, right?
Yeah.
Can you read me a line in your evidence where it says that they use it as leverage for authoritarianism specifically?
Well, right now they're using it as leverage. That's our uniqueness evidence. I guess I can pull it up if you really want, but you can also just scroll through. Okay. Cross about to end, so I'll just pull up that piece of evidence, read it to you.
Okay.
And then that's Guerra 24. Yeah. All right. Cross it over. We're gonna take a little bit more prep once I.
No, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Okay, no more prep.
All right. RK staircase. Let me get a timer. All right. 3, 2, 1. Extend the argument where you're going to be signing your ballot in this round or contention to about politics. Despite polling, Trump is on track to win because polls perennially estimate Trump's support. That guarantees extinction through China escalation, North Korean escalation, and Russian escalation, and pandemics and climate change. That's totally conceded. The only way to combat this is to pass the AF, which leads to a Kamala win because immigration is the #1 issue for voters and they want tougher laws. Post-AF, Kamala wins and extinction is avoided because Trump would cause escalation of global conflict leading to nuke war and extinction through nuclear winter. They give two responses. First, they say that Biden's asylum policy should have already shifted polling, but it definitely did. There has been a shift in polling. Trump was leading before the policy, and now Trump isn't leading as much. That's just definitely true. Second, they say that immigrants prevent inflation and econ is more important. We'll get to that on their case. On the Wang, Trump is definitely bad for cooperation on things like pandemics and climate change, and he definitely sends less food to other countries, which definitely turns agriculture and it's just simple who links in better to politics on the politics question. And we link into extinction, which prereqs all of their case, and our time frame is very specific. Our time frame is literally January 7th when the president is put into office. At that point, go to their case where they concede that the act needs more H-2 visas for legal migration, which will become more affordable and quickly processed, solving for any labor shortage, and is probably independent for offense for the app, because letting more immigrants in turns their inflation turn, and because if there's more immigrants then there's less inflation for their evidence, and it turns agriculture because they say that labor is bad now, and the app solves. And you can cross that bit to their politics argument, because if there are more people being able to enter the country legally, Latino voters probably like that, because now there are easier paths of entry for Latino voters, and they can practically concede that stockpiles solve back for any food shortages, because emergency food stocks release stocks of emergency ensure stability in the availability of price of food. They just say that not every country has stockpiles, but there's no warrant on this. Probably every country has a little bit of food that they can send out to their people in times of need, and they can see that their impact is bad. We say that tiny food shortage is not a reason for everybody to go extinct. We've seen drops in the past, and we've never seen extinction. There's no bright line on the time frame. At that point, they've lost agriculture. Let's go to politics. We just definitely link in better to politics. We say that our uniqueness thumps their link. They're saying Kamala is ahead in the polls now, but we say that Trump perennially underestimated in the polls. That's fundamentally conceded throughout this round. It doesn't matter that their uniqueness postdates us, because it doesn't matter if their uniqueness is bad in the first place. At that point, we say that they have that we can turn their link, because again, we say that when you affirm, you create more legal entry pathways for Latinos, which makes Latinos in the United States more likely to support the Kamala. And we also say that they also concede that voters in swing states are more important than Latino voters for Kamala to win. We link in better.
Okay, Andrew, I'll call you.
Okay, is everyone ready? It'll be hold on. Okay, my case, they're weighing, weighing their case. Everyone good? We're going for agriculture. First, they say H2 visas. One, there's no weighing. Two, they've not implicated the construction link. We've read in case we outweigh on time frame. You obviously need to build the infrastructure before you have it to increase the processing. So it doesn't matter. Three, there's no extension in the summary of uniqueness extended. So our uniqueness to this should flow through. They've conceded that global supplies are good right now and that there's increased fragility. There's low inspection rates, which are good. But once you build obstacles such as once you build infrastructure, that's an obstacle to trade, which increases prices along the entirety because it decreases the amount that we can ship. And that's bad because they've conceded that the US is key to the global food supply, and otherwise it's going to lead to extinction. Next thing they say is stockpiling, but they've conceded that not every country has infinite food. Obviously, only the rich are going to get it because they have a limited supply. Also conceded not every country has millions stockpiled. They've not read any evidence on this, and you should err to the negative. They say no frontline, but if we win their argument on weighing, we should still win the round. Okay, they're weighing. They say that Trump's going to send less food. That's the only weighing they did in the last speech. There's no word why they do that because private companies are the ones that shipping it anyway, not Trump. Trump doesn't decide who goes over the border and who doesn't. And even then, this was just like a 2-second blip. You shouldn't evaluate it. Go to my weighing. On the weighing, one, we win on the time frame. Construction now happens before November, which is the election, which means that any dip in the economy should be a sufficient reason to vote negative. Two, it's a Lincoln. The time frame could control the Lincoln because if our time frame happens, we've won a Lincoln. That means that their argument's going to happen on our side before it happens on theirs. So you should prefer us. The serval evidence that Luke read in Rebuttal goes cold conceded. That says that 80% of people are going to be putting the economy over anything else, including the border, which should be also terminal defense on their case because it means that only 20% of people might put the economy first or might put the border first, but 80% of people are putting the economy first. So it's definitely better on their link on probability. But even then, go to their case. They say that Trump's going to win, but they've just cold conceded, one, that there's non-poll indicators that are going to prove that Kamala's going to win. This was a cold conceded uniqueness implication that they've not answered in the last speech. I don't care if it's a little bit stupid. It was a technical concession, too. They've conceded the Noriega evidence on the link that says that nativist rhetoric is better for Kamala because people take time to be persuaded that Kamala is better at the border than Trump, but it's going to immediately deck her dual appeal the minute she does anything related to the border because it shows that Kamala does not actually support the groups that she's trying to advocate for. And even 650,000 Latino voters going back to Trump is enough to cause her to lose the election. Cold conceded implication in the last speech means that they should lose the round. I don't care. Even if you believe that they're winning uniqueness, the link controls the uniqueness. There's no reason that they read in the last speech to put uniqueness first. But if we win, that there's a risk of the link, the uniqueness does not matter because it should be terminal defense on their case, even if you do not want to evaluate it as a turn. Okay, back to the weighing. When agriculture shocks happen, it obviously makes it less easy for Kamala to prioritize things like the border, and even then it makes it seem like her foreign policy or her domestic policies in shambles, which means that people are going to be less likely to vote for her. So even if you don't believe in the econ weighing, inherently you believe that it looks like she's causing a lot of ruckus along the entire world, which means that people are going to be less likely to support her. Also, if other actors intervene in the elections, just as Russia, which empirically happened in the past, that means that people are less likely to vote for Kamala. It's more likely to support Trump. So if the US angers global food actors, which is a conceded internal link in the last speech, it means that more people are likely to vote Trump.
Okay. Could I take the first question?
Yeah.
All right. What was extended on politics in summary? And like, is it in the rebuttal doc?
Non-poll indicators from case, Noriega from case, and then
no, so just from your case.
Yeah. And then we also extended the serval evidence, which is in rebuttal.
The serval evidence, which is inflation turn?
No, it says 80% of people put the economy before the border.
But you don't, and then on H-2A visas, you don't respond to the offensive Lincoln on that.
We've weighed against the Lincoln on time frame, and we've read reasons as to why time frame controls Lincolns.
All right, you can take a question.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Landon. Okay, let's go to your case. Let's say, okay, wait. If Biden has been passing asylum policies for a long time, why is Trump winning?
Say it again.
If Biden has been passing asylum policies for a long time, why is Trump winning?
Yeah. One, asylum policies aren't general policies about the border. The things that are evidence isolates that people are mad about the border about are like cartels coming across the border, or just like, you know, like a lot of other things related to the border. People aren't really that upset that asylum seekers are coming across the border. That's why people aren't upset by Biden's like down on asylum seekers. Does that answer the question, or is there more?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do a question.
On stockpiles, like you say that we don't have infinite food, but like does construction last forever?
It lasts long enough to trigger my impact.
Yeah, but we don't need infinite food to solve back, right? Like if we have enough food to
It doesn't matter. If it triggers long enough to trigger my impact, then I should win.
No. Your impact is like a short-term food decline. But if we have enough stockpiles to solve back for that time when there's not going to be enough food, then there's no nuke war during that time.
This is super easy. This is super easy to adjudicate, right? Your impact is Trump gets into office. Trump does not live forever. My impact is that food goes away. Food might not go away forever, but if my impact leads to yours and your impact leads to recessions and I've beaten you on time frame, then I win the round.
No, because your impact is nuke war from food shortages. But
I've read a link into your case and I've read time frame weighing. If I win the Lincoln and the time frame weighing, then I win the round.
Isn't the Lincoln from war?
No,
war makes it less likely.
Bad economy, which was the serval evidence that I extended.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I don't really have a question. Do you have one? Oh.
See the Phillies won the NL East. Well, it's awkward.
You're really cutting out a lot.
Am I?
Yeah.
All right, that's cross. We have a minute left.
Okay, that's prep. Let me get my timer. Okay, order's gonna start. Sam, will you? Never mind. Okay, order's gonna start on politics. I'm getting an echo. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Okay, order's gonna start on politics. Go to the weighing, I guess. On politics, I'm gonna get to H2 visas, I guess. Yeah. It's gonna be politics with H2A visas, then the weighing, then agriculture. Okay. Is everyone good? All right, time to start on my first word. You're voting for our argument about politics. Despite polling, Trump is on track to win because polls perennially underestimate Trump's support. That guarantees extinction through China escalation, North Korea escalation, Russia escalation, and pandemics and climate change. The only way to combat this is to pass the AF, which leads to Kamala win because immigration is the #1 issue for voters. They want tougher laws. Post-AF, Kamala wins and extinction is avoided because Trump would cause escalation of global conflict leading to nuke war and extinction through nuke winter. They only have 2 responses, but none of them matter. First is this econ thing, but they can see that the AF means H2A visas for legal migration will probably become affordable and quickly processed. That solves for any labor shortage and is probably definitely independent offense for the app because letting more immigrants into it turns their inflation turn and probably also makes faster construction and means more workers in the agricultural sector, which definitely helps the economy and causes more people to vote for Kamala in the first place. Their only other response is non-polling, but remember, they concede their cards are brutal. Just as Kamala won delegates to their nations, that has nothing to do with her winning the election. They concede our uniqueness, so you can vote on that there. The weighing is super clean. They say there's no warranting on the politics better because Trump will make the econ worse. There is a warrant because Trump is bad with global cooperation and will decrease agricultural output across the globe. That is conceded, but also their wing is really bad. They just say people care about the econ first. No, because we're winning H2 visas. That definitely outweighs. It's a clear link, and we give multiple links as to why it increases agricultural production. Then their only other argument on weighing is the prereq. They say agricultural shocks makes things worse, but hey, they have no specification on their time frame. They don't come first in the first place. The election is literally in November. It definitely comes before, but also they read no economic decline impact, and there's no warrant as to why there's actual extinction. Remember, they concede in every every single speech that stuff like stockpiles and the fact that they give absolutely no bright line as to why or how long it will take for the AF to trigger their effects. Extinction has never happened in the past. Food shortages have. There's absolutely no warrant as to why they would this time. At that point, the only other place you can look is our argument about the H2 visas. That's really key because go back to it. Remember, it speeds up legal migration, makes things more affordable, and increases the amount of workers we have in the agricultural industry. That definitely makes the agricultural output better in the affirmative. You're voting on politics first because they have no weighing on it. Our stuff comes first. The economy is the most important, and even if it is, you're voting on us because of H2 visas.
Okay. Andrew took like Andrew, how much prep do we have? I'm not
I took 130, so we have.
It was 56 for.
Man, this is so much work. We have 34 seconds left.
All right, I'll call you. All right, that was all our prep. Order is agriculture or C1, Wang, C1, Wang, Af. All right. I'll make this round really simple. We're going to say that our argument about agriculture is a better link to politics than theirs. They have not contested the uniqueness in the back half. It is conceded that global supply chains are barely up and fragile. Obstacles that come with construction of infrastructure will happen the minute you affirm, which is conceded in their last speech, and will make it near impossible to ship food on time. That hikes prices, causes instability in global food prices, since they've agreed that the US is a key shipper in the world economy. The H12, like whatever visas argument, does not matter because we've implicated time frame on it, which they have not answered since construction happens first. That means if we have any risk of implicating the election in less than 2 months from this argument, then we are a better link to politics. So they conceded Lincoln on their case. More construction wrecks trade and global economies, and the surveil evidence is extremely clear that finds a wrecked economy matters to 80% of workers. The time frame weighing is just super clear. Andrew is right. Time frame should control the Lincoln debate because of my impact triggers yours and yours triggers mine. They should probably evaluate which trigger should happen first to cause it. Their time frame is just abhorrent. It's in January, which Owen tried to salvage in final in November, but he's in office in January. So if we run any risk of the politics argument being triggered by the negative, you vote for us. Time frame controls the Lincoln debate. So you vote for a side that has better time frame, and our time frame just not contested in their last speech. The round is just like super clean on politics. It is just super, super poorly implicated construction. It's a one-word blip in their last speech, and it happens before people can even immigrate in the first place, which beats the H1 visas argument. And it's also conceded that non-poll indicators are way better, since they themselves have conceded that polls are unreliable per Clinton. So the only way they can look to for the uniqueness is the non-poll indicators. They just say delegates are stupid, but there's no word on why they're stupid. Obviously, if there's more funding and more people support Kamala, that probably translates to more voters supporting Kamala in the first place, which is conceded in the last speech, and it was also just like not in summary. And either way, they've like conceded terminal defense off of Noriega. Harris building a more strong border will just deck dual appeal, but not convince voters that her policy that her policy is stronger than Trump. So it's just a lose-lose situation. Look, non-poll indicators conceded in summary, so you're losing uniqueness. Harris is going to win, but either way, time frame should control the Lincoln debate. Conceded, construction happens immediately. We're winning the time frame debate. It's super clean for the neg.
Good round.
Good round.
Okay, cool. Can all the judges wait, Loki? I think, is there anyone? Yeah, okay. Everyone just send your decision to me. I'm not gonna look at it. I'm gonna make my decision and then like I'll announce it and then we'll do RFDs. I'm gonna like close the chat. I promise I will like be so not looking at it when I make my decision. Okay, so just like DM them to me.